Good evening, my name is Stephanie Akins. I'm currently a student at Excelsior University. I'm in my last semester of nursing school, August 23rd. Can't come fast enough. However, I have to think back to one of the 4 ethical principles that I can say I demonstrated during a practice experience. This would be a good time to tell you about my patient that had an IV that needed to be removed. Another nurse had put the IV in on night shift. She had taken the one out of her left arm, put it in her right wrist, very, very close to the bottom of her palm, so the patient couldn't bend her wrist. The patient had been having multiple bouts of diarrhea. They wanted her to have a bowel movement. They gave her Miralax, and then she had a bowel movement. She ended up having liquid diarrhea on top of constantly having to urinate. She had showed me her IV access. Of course, assessed it, and I saw that it needed to come out. It was bruised around the hub, and it looked as though the tegaderm was pulling her skin. She had like thin skin because she was older. So I went to the nurse that I was shadowing and said, hey, patient in this room, her IV doesn't look patent. The patient has complained of pain and discomfort. You can see there's bruising around the hub, and the tegaderm looks like it's starting to rip her skin because she had paper thin skin. I feel like this was doing the patient justice, because no one wants to be uncomfortable, no one wants to be in pain, no one wants to be hurting, especially in the hospital. You come to the hospital to get help. So I felt a little upset. I don't really want to say the words upset, more of disappointed, because I've always been taught that's a last resort unless you can if you can't get it anywhere else, just that's a last resort. This patient originally had a 20 in the left forearm. The night nurse removed that IV and replaced it with a 25 in the wrist on the right hand side. Don't really think that was good. So it kind of aggravated me. So I went to her nurse that I was training under and asked her if it was okay if I removed this IV, because she was possibly going to a rehab and she was also having discomfort and there was bruising and it looked like skin breakdown. And she told me that it would be fine, that she would contact a doctor. Alright, I went ahead and removed the IV as she told me I could. The patient was very appreciative. After removing the IV, I could see where the hub of the catheter was starting to cause some breakdown in the patient's skin, and where the tegaderm was pulling was also starting to create a ulcer-like skin tear. So I took it off, cleaned it up, bandaged it. And the reason this happened was because the night nurse didn't pay attention to how thin the patient's skin was and to the IV was pulling, and also that this patient was having to go to the restroom a lot, so this IV was essentially being contaminated each time the patient went to the restroom. So this patient could have potentially gotten sepsis if not properly cared for. Thankfully, the IV wasn't needed, so we took it out. Preventing hospital-acquired illnesses such as sepsis falls under one of the 4 ethical principles that I feel. And the one that I feel is non-malice. You don't want to create a problem for a patient if you can help it. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a great day.